I played a lot of games recently. Some of them were cold oatmeal, some were hot tamales. These were the hot tamales. The first game is called Off the Grid. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, gosh, there's just not enough Battle Royale games. You're thinking, Daddy, I want more Battle Royales now! The market has been kind of saturated with Battle Royales, but this one is actually doing some interesting things. It's actually doing some things differently. It's not just a copy-paste, and most importantly, it's actually fun to play. It's also free to play. It's in a cyberpunk universe crafted by Neil Blomkamp, known for co-writing and directing the movies District 9, Elysium, and Chappie. It actually has some AAA production value in the cinematics, and it really sells you on the world they've created. Like when your niece convinced you to buy 20 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. There's another really cool reason to try this game out. The developers, Gunzilla Games, actually bought and saved Game Informer magazine, which had been closed down by those people who sell Funko Pops. Gaming magazines are obsolete. No one relies on them for news now that all the information in the universe fits in these shiny little rectangles, but they are still a really cool novelty. In a world where the only way to interact with video games is to stare at a screen, it's nice to be able to experience that hobby without screens in a way that lets you feel and smell actual paper. You can always use old copies to roll up and play fetch with your dog. You can fold them in half and use them to swat flies or spiders, or just rub them on your face and absorb the video games directly. The magazine is typically done really well, and pages are very colorful, and there's lots of really cool artwork in there. Also, the publication has been producing a high quality product for a very long time, so it was sort of a shame to see it shut down seashells by the seashore, and it's kind of awesome to see it resurrected. Off the Grid is actually a pre-release game right now, meaning it's still in development. It is currently playable in early access on the Epic Game Store on PC, as well as the current gen PlayStation and Xbox storefronts. So what feels good about it? The shooting, the weapons, and the loot all feel very good, especially for a pre-release game. You have a jetpack that you can use to traverse the map with ease, although it requires altitude to use. The game has a focus on interchangeable cybernetic limbs that give you various abilities, like legs that fire mortars, arms that boost various stats, and clavicles that make extra crispy french fries. Many of these abilities can shoot you up into the air in various ways, and from there you can use your jetpack and either traverse the map or strategically maneuver around enemies, like when your niece was looking for you to sell you those Girl Scout cookies and you had to commando roll out of the kitchen. The cybernetic limbs have a diverse range of abilities that keep the game fresh. You can get them as loot during a battle or unlock them in various other ways. They're completely customizable, so think of it like you're not just equipping a weapon and a gadget, but you're also equipping a leg and an arm. There's also a ton of weapon combinations to play around with. You can customize your appearance, you can be male or female, and choose different races and skin tones. The character creator is decent, but hopefully they will broaden it before the actual release. Obviously the loot will significantly customize your appearance as well. Apparently they're working on a 60-hour long narrative campaign, which based on the current in-game cinematics could actually be great. The eventual release is supposed to have 150 players in-game. Right now, in early access, it appears to be about 20. They have a lot going on in this game, and there's a lot more planned. It sounds like it could end up really cool. I definitely enjoyed my time in the game so far. I'm looking forward to what they come up with, like when that city worker climbed out of that sewer. I would not recommend spending money on a game that is in early access. The game is free to play, but you can spend money on various different things, which obviously would help fund the development. If you do spend money, I would consider it more like supporting the devs and not necessarily buying something. Early access games, by necessity, change a lot of things over time, and I cannot guarantee that whatever you purchase will stay in the game. I would recommend playing the game for free and maybe offering the developer some constructive criticism if you have any. My only complaint so far is that the announcer kind of spouts profanity every 5 seconds. It kind of just comes off as an edgy middle schooler trying to sound cool. Some people won't care about that at all, some people will. I'm fairly confident that they won't leave it like that though. For the long-term health of the game, younger people are going to want to be able to play it without their parents making them turn it off. Some older people are going to want to be able to play it without their children hearing an F-bomb every 5 seconds. It didn't ruin my experience, but I certainly would prefer it changed. The second game is what happens when you put 100 hamburglers into a single backyard pool. It's Sea of Thieves. I used to know somebody who would talk about this game constantly, and I always thought they were crazy. It never really appealed to me at all. I knew as a multiplayer focused game, it would be easy for a group of friends to jump in and have a good time. I know from experience that doing just about anything with friends can be a good time. I once walked 20 miles for a memory card with a homie. A few times I was with some neighborhood kids and said, we should play football. And they were like, we don't have a football. And I was like, we can use my shoe. It's basically the same thing. So we would play a whole game or two of football using my shoe, and then I would take the other shoe off and play with no shoes. While that still holds true with this game, it also has an exceedingly high quality single player experience. I would go as far as to say that if you like puzzle games and pirate stuff, you might actually love the single player experience. Some of the dungeons are basically pirate themed puzzle games. Personally, I do not love puzzle games, so I just ignored these mostly, but I still had an extremely positive experience, both with friends and the single player content, to the point where I would recommend the game, especially if you can get it for a good price or with Game Pass. By the way, it is crossplay, which is nice. The game does a lot of things really well. What stood out more than anything to me was the atmosphere. The atmosphere is incredible. From the sounds of the wood in your ship creaking, to the sounds of the waves crashing, to the chirps of birds overhead, to the sight of the sun setting through the clouds, everything comes together to create an immersive atmosphere that is immediately enjoyable, especially if you're in a quiet room or you have headphones. After completing the tutorial, I did a few adventures on my own and one longer adventure with a friend, and this game impressed me much more than I ever would have anticipated. It keeps things simple, but it still requires you to navigate and use your brain. You have unlimited ammo, but you also have to walk over to the rope and adjust the sails now and then. You start with everything you need, but you also have to raise and drop the anchor. The game expects just enough from you to immerse you in the game, but not so much as to become tedious. The waves alone, on current-gen hardware, are so incredibly done that I would often sit on the bow of my ship and just watch the waves crash while listening to everything going on around me. I don't think anyone can argue that these are the best video game waves of all time. And if you add a beautiful sunset to those waves, forget about it, Buttercup. Might as well call in sick to work tomorrow, because it's all downhill from here, kid. Whoever was in a boardroom and said, you know, players are going to be looking at our water like 90% of the time, we should probably make it look like the best thing ever, I'd like to shake that person's hand and buy them a yoo-hoo. I'd like to talk to the parents and say, listen, I know it was hard, but you did good, kid. This one's going places. Next game, Avowed. Listen, this channel and this video is about positivity. I saw a lot of negativity surrounding this game, and I have no desire to engage with that whatsoever. If you post something toxic here, I will 360 tail swipe it out of existence. Some people think it's a super political game with some big agenda. I'm telling you right now, if this game would have pushed some political or social or religious agenda onto me as the player, I probably would have installed the game faster than you can say, this game's not good! I know one guy on the team tried to make it political on Twitter, but I also know that not everyone who works for Obsidian has the exact same beliefs about everything in life. That doesn't really happen with big companies. Get two of your friends together and see if you all agree on every single thing. It doesn't happen. What I do know is that Obsidian has made a laundry list of good games. They made Fallout New Vegas, The Outer Worlds, Knights of the Old Republic 2, and several other hit games. Although many of the devs that worked on those games are no longer with the company, some of them still are, and I know this because I've seen the interviews of these people talking about their work. So when I played Avowed, I experienced exactly what I expected from Obsidian. A high-quality RPG with a well-written story set in the established Pillars of Eternity franchise. Having played The Outer Worlds on current-gen hardware, I also expected this game to look equally stunning, and it did not disappoint. I took more screenshots and video clips than I will ever need. I found the combat to be very solid and customizable. I played most of the game with an axe in one hand and a spellbook in the other. Blocking was not much of a thing without a shield, but the dodge mechanic was strong enough that I didn't really need to block, especially after leveling the dodge. It was a nice experience, freezing monsters with a spellbook and then hitting them with a charge attack, or using chain lightning on the reptile people who are weak against electricity. I've heard some people complain about the story, but I have to wonder what kind of branching paths they went down. The decisions you make drastically change how everything plays out. I feel like I was fortunate in that I must have stumbled into the perfect ending. Literally, none of my people died. The enemies were all vanquished and expelled from the land. The new mysterious god of the living lands literally becomes BFFs with my character. They help me take care of the land. They literally go on walks with my character in the ending. They'll go find some rare trinket and bring it to my character and be like, check it out, isn't this cool? I'm not making this up. My character literally saves the land and befriends and even provides counseling to a new and confused and emotionally fragile god entity in this fictional universe. It's pretty wild. I also thought the game did a good job of rewarding exploration with interesting items placed in tucked away areas, like when the sock fairy keeps hiding your socks. The game was even funny at times. They did some unexpected things with the story. It was overall just a very positive experience. Probably my favorite RPG of this current console generation. If you can get it for a good price or on Game Pass, I would definitely recommend it. So those are 3 recent positive experiences. Normally this channel is about niche games and 3D fighting games, but this was sort of an in-between video. I just kind of found some cool stuff that I wanted to recommend. I'm actually really excited that this video is done because that means I can focus on playing Plasma Sword, a 3D fighting game by Capcom from the Dreamcast era. I've been playing it on Capcom's Fighting Collection 2, and it has been absolutely amazing. I plan to continue playing that game every day for about 2 weeks and then making a video about it. I've been blown away by the art style, the visuals, the sci-fi dynamic, the mechanics, and more. Just a heads up, I will probably eventually cover every single 3D fighting game, even the super niche ones like Deadly Arts, Fighter's Destiny, and Tobal. So if that sounds good to you, maybe consider smashing that lumbar adjustment button. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you had for lunch in the comments. I appreciate your support. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching. Peace out.